Alright, in this session I'd like to show you Ubuntu 12.04 long-term support uncomplicated firewall, UFW. I'll be going over the firewall, how to enable and disable it, look at its status, add rules, delete rules, insert rules, reload the firewall, look at its logs, and then finally reset it. So you have to use the sudo command for most of these UFW commands. You have to have elevated privileges from a regular user. So I'm going to see what the state is of the UFW. So I'm going to say sudo UFW status, and its status is inactive. So I'm going to enable it. Now you notice that it's active and enabled and on in system startup. I'm going to add a simple rule. I'm going to allow SSH, sudo UFW, allow in SSH. The rule's been added. Now I want to look at my rules. Sudo UFW status verbose, and I can tab through commands and it'll fill them in for me. This gives me verbose output. It tells me the status of the firewall, the logging status, the fact that it is denying incoming and allowing outgoing. There's no profiles, and right now I have two rules. When I don't specify the Internet Protocol version, it gives me both IPv4 and IPv6. So I actually want to delete this rule because I'd like to create a limit. When I do a limit, it will limit the amount of connection attempts to 6 in 1 minute, and that can stop the brute force attacks against the SSH service. So I'm going to go ahead and sudo UFW status numbered to give me the line numbers, and now I'm going to go ahead and delete these lines. And you delete from bottom up so that you don't have to continually reorder your rules. Say yes. So now I'm going to add that rule back in, but use the limit parameter. So sudo UFW limit SSH/TCP. The rule's added. And limit is not allowed in IPv6, it's just telling you that. UFW status numbered. And there it is. Now I also want to say I want to insert a rule to allow HTTP in. Then I would simply insert sudo UFW insert line 1 allow in HTTP, and if I look at my numbered again, it's now the first one in the list and the third one in the list. So once you've one other thing I want to do is allow, say, my local subnet in is, say my subnet is 192.168.1.0 255.255.2550, which is the same as /24. I would issue this command, sudo UFW allow from 192.168.1.0/24, and it will do it. Now if I show my rules again, you notice that it allows it to anywhere, so the entire subnet can be allowed in, which is typically what you might do on your own home network. If you want to know the service names For example, you want to allow FTP in, or you want to allow another port that you don't know the name of. You can find these from the etc services file. So if you wanted to search, say, FTP, search as grep, FTP, the term, and where I'm going to search in is etc services. And that will list out that there's FTP data and FTP, which is, it's a two-port protocol. So I'd have to allow both of those. Sudo ufw allow in FTP, or I could do 20 TCP and 21 TCP. Now if I look at my rules, I'm going to look at my history and find where I did that status numbered, and I'm going to access that history line and rerun that command. Just a nice little quick tip. So now you see I've got 20 and 21 allowed in. That is FTP. Now that I've loaded all these rules, I have to reload the firewall to get them to take effect. So you do a sudo ufw reload. It's done it. And now that I've made my firewall rules, I would like to look at what may be in my logs. So I'm going to tail, which gives me the last 10 or 15 lines, var log ufw.log, and there's some entries in there from stuff that's been blocked. It looks like it's usually looks like it's some multicast. I've got something on my network here that's got multicast going, so that's being blocked. Now that I've done all that, I'm going to go ahead and reset my firewall to default, which is going to erase the rules and disable the firewall. Sudo ufw reset. Says you want to do it, and yes, I did. And that is the Ubuntu uncomplicated firewall.